Hello, welcome to the Submarine Way.
Morning.
Today
I
we're
guess
going to talk
afternoon,
about
sorry.
Today we're going to talk about why the Submarine Way is right for the world today. So on Face the Nation this morning, it was about harassment from Al Franken to Roy Moore, and the questions were more not necessarily about how do we stop it, but legally how do we approach it.
Legally.
So today we want to talk about how we think are some themes that we can apply towards actually stopping some of this that's occurring. So a few weeks ago it was Weinstein, and we want to have a little bit of conversation about that because we think there is a way that that could have been surfaced much sooner. A month before that, it was Charlottesville, or 2 months before that. So there are some very sad, very disturbing things going on in society. From the harassment standpoint, we really think that things are actually bubbling up. Things that would have been covered up in the past are actually really bubbling up, and that's a positive thing. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about today is...
If you see something, you have to say something, and say something, you have to do something. I'm gonna circle back around to something that's probably pretty obvious to you if you're watching this video. Deb and I are white. That was kind of a spoiler alert there. Typically in the diversity and inclusion world in the past, we would not be the face of diversity and inclusion.
I do want to say we're extremely passionate about it, however. It's very, very important to us, and I think you're going to talk about why.
It's so important that Deb actually left corporate America for it and has been working literally tirelessly, not just to write a book, but to really start a movement in this field. And if you look statistically at Fortune 500 companies, 73% of them are run by predominantly white males with some white females. I think it's incumbent upon those people in power that they set the example of see something, say something, do something, and not just write a check or not just show up at a benefit or not just say all the right things. Because clearly, we've said a lot of stuff for a lot of years, but we haven't done it. Submarines, very different animal. I want to preface this by saying in no way am I blaming victims here when I'm talking about see something, say something, do something. In fact, I'm going to talk about the people around the victim. On a submarine, rank is secondary to making sure nobody gets blown up or hurt, and that there are limits to some of the verbal jousting, and there's a lot of it that goes on. A lot of times, it's not the person involved in it, it's someone else who's around that notices the safety issue, that notices, hey, we've gone a little bit too far here on some of the quote-unquote good-natured fun. And they don't walk away, they walk up and they tap someone on the shoulder and they say, knock it off. Here's my question, my thought out loud. I refuse to believe in all the years and all the accusations against Mr. Weinstein. I don't remember his name. It's the only reason I'm calling him Mr. Harry?
I don't know.
Exactly, him, that guy. I refuse to believe that there were not peers, not the victims, that there were not peers that couldn't have tapped him on the shoulder and said, dude, what are you doing? And I cannot believe that that wouldn't have had some positive impact. See something, say something, do something. It's the zero tolerance that we talk about in the book, but also we've all heard for years and years, Deb, right? I mean, we hear the zero tolerance of racism, zero tolerance of harassment.
Right. Well, I think it's all about taking personal responsibility. Yeah. So if you see something, you see someone being bullied, you see someone being harassed, you have zero tolerance for it. You take personal responsibility and you bring it up and you talk about it and you shed a light on it. And that's the one positive thing that I can really say that's happening today with Moore and Franken and Weinstein is the light of day is actually happening in those situations that have been covered up for a very, very long time. So our parting thought for you is there are a couple things to keep in mind besides see something, say something, do something. One of them is reject gender stereotyping. It is too easy then to have inappropriate behavior if you're objectifying anyone, whether it's a male or female or anyone. We need to accept people on their own terms as individuals and not group them, not stereotype them. The other thing is, don't accept racism from anyone. Again, it doesn't matter whether you are black or white. Racism is wrong and it only divides us. And back to our theme here, see something, say something, do something. It's incumbent upon us to take personal responsibility. There's more around all of that in the system of the submarine way. Very interesting way to have a construct that actually supports what we believe is very important to changing society.
Yes.
Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it and hope you learned something today. We certainly do every time we talk.
See something, say something, do something. And always, there's always the same thing. Check us out at thesubmarineway.com. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.
Yes.